Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the very first video I've ever posted and I'm super excited for you guys to be here. I have a lot of things coming, a lot of things planned, and I asked you guys some questions on Instagram and I got some really nice questions, so I'm gonna answer them for you today. You guys know me from my designs probably, so I thought it would be a really good way to kind of connect and get to know my real life and how I am outside of videos and pictures on Instagram and TikTok. So anyway, one of the things that I'm trying to start right now is to redo my whole apartment in Milan. So I'm thinking of showing a YouTube video of kind of like what it looks like right now and then show as I go and decorate. So, or design, I guess. But you guys let me know what you want to see. I also have another series where I design an apartment in Stockholm. So if you guys want to see that day to day too, let me know. And just let me know in general what else you want from this channel. Cause yeah, I'm a designer and I'm trying to like do all of this like social media stuff, but I think it'd be really fun to have a way to connect with you guys. And I really appreciate everyone even like following me in the first place. So anyway, let's get started. So the first question is, where did you study? So you guys know I am an interior architect. I studied in Florence, Italy at the Florence Institute of Design International, or called FIDI for short. I did that in 2014 and I got a degree in interior design. And it also focused on like furniture design, lighting design, photography, kind of like a mixture of everything. My next question is, how did you get started in interior design? Talk me through your path. Okay, so I basically had no idea what I wanted to do my whole life. I was super confused and I knew it had to be something creative because I was always into creativity in every aspect. I was obsessed with music. I used to like paint for fun, played some instruments, and I noticed all the TV shows that I watched were kind of like, I don't know, House Hunters International and renovation shows and just kind of anything that had to do with, I guess, construction. I was really into construction. When I was a kid, my mom and I used to go to show homes for fun, and we would kind of like not pretend like we were gonna buy a house, but we genuinely wanted to see the house. And my mom was like, oh, this is my dream home. So we would go into these places to check them out. And I remember just thinking, oh my God, if I lived in this place, like my whole life would be amazing, which is not true at all. So don't think that way. But I just always knew that I had to do something creative, and I really didn't know what that was. But when I was actually like 12 years old, I went to Europe with my family, and we went to Florence, and I really liked Florence. And so when I got home from Florence, I Googled a school for interior design. I don't know why I always knew the term interior design, but I think I thought it just meant decorator. So I Googled when I got home, like interior design school Florence, and I found this school called Florence Design Academy, which is the opposite. It's not the same school that I went to. It's kind of like the competitor. And I showed my parents and I was like, I'm going to the school. The second I turn 18, like I'm gonna work until I'm 18. I'm gonna make a bunch of money that I can save like from waitressing and stuff. And I'm gonna go to the school. And that's exactly what I did. So it's kind of crazy how it worked out, but just basically like since I was a kid, I was obsessed with aesthetics. There were some days where I actually would cry because I didn't want to go to school because I thought my outfit looked really bad, which is hilarious because we were so unbelievably poor at the time. So I only had like 2 shirts and I would wear them all the time. And I remember thinking, everyone at school is going to make fun of me because I was always thinking of this aesthetic that I wanted to preach even as a child, which is pretty crazy to think about. But all the like TV shows that I used to watch were all based on aesthetics, I realize now today. So I was obsessed with like color combinations, the soundtrack to shows. Like one of my favorite shows was the original Spider-Man, which I think was from the 50s or 60s. I'm not for sure. But at first, I would watch it on TV because it was the only thing that was on. And then I got really excited to watch it because it was very minimal. It looked very two-dimensional. All the buildings were very symmetrical, and they only worked with a few colors, and the soundtrack was really good. So I feel like that's kind of how I got into knowing I wanted to be a designer, is when I was like 18 years old. I was like, hey, I need to put all this stuff together and kind of figure out what my path is. I was interested in like graphics and photography and stuff like that, but it didn't like hit home in the same way. So that's kind of how it happened. I know that's kind of confusing, but that was the path that led me to going to study in Florence. And honestly, my grades in school were really low. I had a really hard time in school just because, I don't know, my brain is the opposite. Like I don't work with math, I don't work with science, and I tried my whole life really, really hard. But then I was like, hey, I love art class, I loved English class and literature and such. So I think that was kind of more the direction that I was steering into. So that's kind of what happened. So I ended up going to school in Florence. I did my degree there, and then after that I just went directly to work, and I got a job in New York, and I worked at an architecture firm there for about a year. And then after that I got an offer to do these daycares. So I did one daycare that I'm sure you guys have seen on my Instagram and TikTok, and I actually did one daycare before that for the same company. So this one that I did is kind of what like launched and started my career path, wanting to do design on my own. So anyway, that's that question. Okay, so I could talk for hours, so it's probably better that I just move on. Okay, what is this one? Are you proud of yourself, or do you still have any feeling that you still need to get improvement in your life? I'm not proud of myself, unfortunately, and I wish I could sit here and be like, oh, I'm the #1 advocate for like self-esteem and confidence and everything, and I'm the complete opposite. And I think when people meet me, they always say like, you seem so outgoing, so confident, so like secure with yourself, and it's quite literally the opposite. I think I am my biggest not fan, I would say, and that's something that I've kind of worked on my whole life, but I've never had like the right confidence to be able to believe in myself and push myself harder. And if I don't know, like when I'm designing, for example, I hate everything I design. I really do. And it takes probably the grand finale to be like, hey, like you did something good here. But I will always nitpick at myself, and I'll always think, oh, you should have done this differently. You should have done this. You should have like thought about this section of the space a bit better. Like next time you have to do that better. But I'm really bad at patting myself on the back and actually being like, hey, you're doing something here. You're changing people's lives. You're changing environments. Like you're doing your own business now. Like you should be really happy. And I don't know why. And I guess a lot of people are like that, where you just don't ever feel accomplished, or you don't feel proud of yourself. And it's something that I really detest about myself, because I have so much to be grateful for. And I think at the end of the day, I've done a lot of like self-therapizing to realize that it kind of just results down to living in the present and accepting yourself and showing gratitude, because that's what living in the present is. So I've just tried to kind of hone down and focus and think, you know what, like you've done a lot of things. So yes, it's good to keep going and doing more, but I'm very hard on myself. I'm kind of like my biggest enemy, and I don't know, it's a weird subject, but I don't know how many people are like me, because whenever I talk to my friends, they're like, you should love yourself. I'm obsessed with myself. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever not related more in my life. Like I've always been the most insecure person in the world. Like from my looks to the way I speak to the way I design to like, I don't know, the way I walk, I'm so critical. So I think this is also teaching me a lot too. And like, since even posting on social media and stuff, like yeah, that kind of criticism has been really good for me, because I'm just like, I grow from it so much more now, and now I'm able to actually look in the mirror and be like, you need to be grateful for where you are. So I think that's kind of the best way I can explain things. Sorry, I keep touching my hair because it's like really hot in here. Also, you'll hear my landlord or my neighbor who lives downstairs, so you might hear him talking sometimes. Okay, next question is, what's your favorite color? I would say blue and green. I go from one to the other occasionally. Right now, I would say it's blue. I do love a good green. I think it's very moody. It sets the tone. It's very deep. And obviously, it's all around us in nature. So I really do appreciate a good green. But I think lately I've been on a little blue high where it just makes me happy. I don't know, it makes me happy. And I think in interiors it works really well. Both those colors, obviously, I think any color can work well in interior. It's just how you use it. But yeah, I would say blue. What is one style that you hate and why? Okay, I have like a thing about this where I'm not into like styles per se, I'm into concepts rather. So a lot of people will ask me like, what's your favorite trend? Which trend do you hate the most? And it's like, I just don't really believe in like styles and trends. But I think most designers will probably say that, like you come towards an object or a space from a concept point of view rather than a like style or trend. I have noticed myself where when I am designing, I will think of something to design and I'll think that's too trendy or that's too styled, like it fits into a style too much. And then I'm like, wait, what really is a style anyway? So I would say if I actually take styles and trends themselves, probably the all white thing is one, like everything being white. I understand there's definitely a time and place for that. I think if there's a concept around it, but I'm not crazy about like all white kitchen, all white bathroom. It feels clean, so I know like to live in it, it can be kind of nice. Another thing I'm not into right now is I think like people making furniture with kind of like paper mache, like they'll do it with mirrors and such. And water, and they'll make curved elements that look very organic and very like wabi-sabi. I'm not super into that wabi-sabi feel. I do think that's a big trend that's gonna pass soon. But I just think it's too like raw and organic in a way that doesn't have a strong backing. I think people might just think it looks cool and want to try it out, which is fine. But I think that's one of the ones that I'm not that into lately. Also, reclaimed wood. That is one thing that if I could burn a material and never see it again, it would be reclaimed wood that has like the different colors. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like layers of wood, and some are blue, some are orange, some are green or gray, and it just, that's one thing I can't stand, honestly. Okay, let me see. You guys are really funny, by the way. Some of you are so adorable. Like, I love your work. Can you tell? Because I think you submitted a few questions. I won't say your name on here, but it's really cute. Okay, what is your go-to smoothie or coffee or shake? I would say my go-to, honestly, is just a regular cappuccino. I can drink those all day. I usually have one every morning now that I live in Milan. I would say a regular cappuccino, or either, I did have a lot of phases where I went through like a London fog was a big one for me. I also like juices. I would say my go-to juice would be orange, carrots, strawberry, and a ton of ginger. I really like that strong ginger kick where you feel like you're almost like choking from too much ginger. I really like that first thing in the morning. And beets, I should say, with beets too. Okay. Hey, what is one country you would like to visit one day? Where around the world did you get to travel to? Okay, so hi, first of all. I think the country I've been wanting to go to for a while has been Japan. Um, Mainly for the nature and the design. I would really like to check that out. Um, I have lived in Stockholm for about 4 years. Now I live in Milan, but I really love Scandinavian design and how they come up with their concepts just based on soft minimalism. Everything is very well thought out and very curated with very minimal material usage. And I feel like Japan has a similar type of feel. So I would say Japan. And the other part of the question was, where did you get to travel to? I've been not to a crazy amount of places. I've been to a lot of places in Europe, I would say. Like, I've been to the main ones like London, Paris, Rome, all throughout Italy. I've been to Vienna, Prague. I can't even think now. I don't know why I can't think at all. I've been to Amsterdam. I've been to, I would say the main places. I just went to Poland. I went to Krakow last summer. I've been to, I can't think, some places in Germany. I haven't been to Berlin though, which is kind of, you would have thought that if I went to all those places, I would have at least been to Berlin. But yeah, I think that's the main places I've traveled. But yeah, I've gone the most probably throughout Italy, and I haven't traveled that much outside of the EU. I think the only place that I've been is a little bit in the US and a very small amount in Canada, like very small, especially for being Canadian. But my favorite place that I've been to is Scotland by far. I love Scotland, and I would love to, if any of my audience is Scottish, give me tips because I am planning to go back because I really, really, really love it. Okay, next question. Did you ever regret anything about your design career? Honestly, I'm not a regretful person in general. I will overthink things all the time. Like, don't get me wrong, all the time. But I'm never thinking, I wish I would have done this. I think the things that I do want to do, I end up pursuing anyway because I fight really hard to listen to my intuition and listen to my gut. Okay, how did you start running your own business? I would say now it kind of started, I think like right before I started posting on Instagram and TikTok. I started Studio Anva, which is my company. I started it without like social media or anything, so I just started actually posting on Studio Anva's Instagram in hopes of getting clients somehow, but I wasn't posting anything with like that would go viral or anything like that. So I always knew that I want to work for myself anyway. So when I was working for the architecture firm in New York, I knew that it's not something I wanted to do my whole life. I grew up in Canada and people kind of have jobs really early on. So I started working from a super young age, and I had been working already for 10 years before I went to, or maybe even more, 10 years before I went to school in Florence. So when I moved to Europe, all the European kids at my school they've never had a job. So their parents were paying for school and everything. And I didn't have that luxury, unfortunately, which now I look back and I am really happy about that because it pushed me in different ways. But I remember thinking, okay, so I'm tired of working for people because I've done it for 10 years. But my friends were all ready to work for a studio and start, getting design experience, which is what you should do. But at that point, I was kind of tired. So when I moved to New York, I had a really good position at a great company, and we designed office headquarters. And I just had that exact feeling where I thought, you know what, like, this company's doing good things, but I feel like I could do so and so better. And that can be like a weird, almost cockiness, I guess, to have. But it wasn't out of that. It was more for me out of, I want to take the extra time to build concepts for these clients because I would do this so differently. So a lot of times in like the corporate world, it's about getting things done like quicker and cheaper, really. So I kind of felt that that was how it worked with companies. So I always wanted to have my own thing where it was just me designing and me doing everything from beginning to scratch, from like concept design to all the 2D AutoCAD drawings, blueprints, spatial distribution, 3D modeling and rendering, whereas, and then getting all the furniture and materials and everything. Whereas at a company, every time I talk and I'm excited, I'm so out of breath. Okay, so at a company, you have 1 or 2 or 3 people designated for each of those things. So we had a 3D renderer, we had a modeler, we had someone in 2D. So there was always someone for a position. And I came in and I was like, oh, you guys, I know all these programs, like, please use me. I can do whatever you want, just use me. And it just doesn't work like that in a company, which makes sense. So for me, I was like, I want to do everything. And even to this day, I'm still reluctant to like hire people or hire interns because I want to do things myself. And it's very toxic for myself because I don't know how to ask for help and I don't know how to let people help me. That's my biggest problem. So I would say that's kind of how I started this whole Studio Anva thing and this business. Sorry, I get super carried away. But I kind of started Studio Anva in hopes of just getting my own clients and being able to make a difference in the design world. So yeah, and Studio Anva stands for my name. Like, my name is Alyssa Nella Victoria Anselmo. So it felt very personal to me and I just couldn't really think of another name to use. So yeah. Okay, so next question. Why did you decide to study and now live in Italy? So, I came from rural Alberta, which is a province in Canada. It's like closer to the West Coast, and it is the coldest place on the planet. It literally beat like Alaska, and the North Pole several years in a row because it gets to minus 50 degrees Celsius. And there was just a lot of like oil industry there. That's what everyone thrived on. It was not a design oriented or aesthetic oriented city or arts or cultural city. So when I was a kid, my parents are actually both Italian, like they were both born in southern Italy. So we would go as a kid and as kids, and maybe every like 2 to 3 years, and it was their dream to move back or to have a house in their village. So every time we came to Europe, it was like this high for me that I could never get over when I got back to Canada. So I was, I don't know, 6 years old the first time we went. And I remember like telling my parents I was gonna run away the day that we were taking the flight back because I just didn't want to go back. And I just fell in love with the architecture. And it wasn't just Italy, actually. I remember we stopped in London and I was obsessed with London. It was just something about the way that people think, the way that they speak, the way that they move, the way that they have an eye for things in Europe in general. This just really caught my attention. And I think I probably gravitated towards Italy specifically because I was so familiar with it, like coming here because of my parents. And of course, they're like the head of architecture and design. So it was very, very cool for me to find interior design architecture school in Florence that all of the teachers were old Italian architects. And I just remember thinking like, why the hell would I pay the same price for this program in Canada for the degree when I can go live in Italy and get it from the source, like have all of these great architects teach me their ways and everything they know. And it was fascinating. And to answer the second part, like the reason I'm here now is I have been living in Stockholm for the last 4 years, and I love Stockholm. It's one of my favorite cities, and I probably will end up back there like permanently. We'll see. But I just needed some sun, really. Like, I think that's like honestly why anyone leaves Stockholm, is because we need sun. Like, I haven't had sun in so freaking long, and even just now, it's the smallest, teensiest little things that you don't think about in life that are so much better here in some ways. I'll always value like the design and the simplicity of Stockholm, and everything works, everything functions, people are really friendly, like everything's good. It's trendy, there's a lot of stuff going on, there's a lot happening in the design, furniture, fashion world. It's a great city. But there's something about here that's just an ease. Everything is very simple. I love in the morning, I go get a coffee and pastry, and like, it's not 10 euros, it's like €1.50, it's like €2. So I think that's a big thing. I just kind of wanted a break for a year or so, just to see how living somewhere else would be, and getting some sun. Really, that's the biggest thing. So how is a day in your life? I think every day is, obviously it varies, but I would say as of right now, I wake up around 9-ish because I work from home, and try and get as much sleep as I can. And I start the day going for coffee, so I'll get ready. I like doing my hair and makeup like as soon as I get up, otherwise I won't do it. So I'll wake up, first thing I do actually is make tea. So I have this little dandelion root tea, and I make that with lemon. And then I get ready, I put my makeup on, I do my hair, I get dressed, and then my boyfriend and I go for coffee. So we go to a cafe. I always get a coffee and a pastry. And then after that, I go buy some stuff to make lunch later in the day. So I come back home, I immediately start working. I'll answer emails, probably also answer them as soon as I wake up too, but I try not to do that, but it's too hard not to check my email in the morning, so I don't know. But I would say I do a lot of work in the day depending on the client. I do like different admin work. I've been doing a lot of stuff with social media lately, so I do stuff with like the admin side of brand deals and all of that. I do myself from home. I don't have like a manager or anything. And then I do client work. Like right now I'm working on a project in Stockholm. So it is a apartment design series. So I'm working on that currently. And then at the same time, I am redoing my whole Milan apartment. So that's gonna be really fun. I'm really excited about that. But I'm kind of trying to figure out everything there, like the configuration. I have to buy a lot of furniture, a lot of vintage furniture. So I'm kind of like planning that stuff in the day, and it's really exciting. There's just a lot of stuff going on. But after that, like I'll kind of work the whole day. I'll take little breaks here and there if I need to go get something or go to the grocery store, or take a walk and get some air. And then I'll probably start cooking. There's a fly. I'll probably start cooking at like 6, 7, 7:30, something like that. Eat dinner, and then just like watch funny videos, and then kind of strategize-ish for the next day. But I really like to relax at night and take time for myself, because I don't know how to do that. So sometimes I actually have to force myself. And of course, while I'm doing that stuff, I'm still thinking about all the projects I have going on in my head. So I feel like I don't actually ever take a moment to like relax. Like this right now would be kind of relaxing for me, which is weird, but I'm a bit crazy, so that's okay. I would say that's probably the average day in my life, yeah. But then when I have a client, like when I was doing the daycare, that was huge, and I think I worked like honestly 14 hours a day of just like constant redesigning, meeting after meeting after meeting, and it is very exciting. It's just a lot. That was a really stressful time for me, so I think yeah, I would say that's that. Okay, next question is, how and where do you meet with clients without having a studio? I just do everything online, honestly. Like, we're so blessed now that we have Zoom and meetings and everything through Google. It's great. So I wish I had a studio. That's my dream. One day I would really like to actually be able to like wake up and go somewhere, because I feel like I'm a lot more productive that way. If it's on my own terms, like if I have my own studio, I think it would be really good. And I feel like I would show up at like 6 a.m. So it is a bit weird not having a studio, but I think my clients understand. Like, I think it's okay for them too to just have a call. So yeah. Okay, next question is favorite furniture pieces. Okay, this is really tough. I would say, I think I have more so favorite companies, and then the pieces change from time to time. The first one that came in mind was Cartel has certain pieces that I do really like. This is the Cartel magazine holder. I'll post it here. I love this. I'm probably gonna get one right away because I cannot stop staring at it. I know it's become like really big again recently, but that's for sure one of my favorite ones. Another favorite is, I'm just looking now to see which ones I have saved. I'll also put up the lamp by Axel Che here. Another one of my favorite furniture pieces right now is this table. I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't know who designed it, but I absolutely love this table, so I'll just keep it here. But I would say like I mainly like certain designers and then I'll stick with them. So it's not so much I like one piece, but I will say overall the pieces that I look for are timeless, minimal, they have an elegance about them, and they have a combination of intricate minimal materials, and they have a smoothness to the eye. I think that's probably the trend in the furniture pieces that I've been admiring my whole design life, I would say. Okay, where do your clients come from? I will say that since I started sharing on Instagram and TikTok and all of that, I have been getting clients from there for sure, like a lot of people. That has made me incredibly grateful, because nothing makes me happier than sharing my projects and sharing my process. So I am really happy that I can get clients from there. I think other clients are just from word of mouth, that maybe they saw my project either online or they saw it in person. I've had a lot of people actually see the last daycare I designed in person. What is something that just clicked in your life and you took it as a sign? That's a really good question. I'm gonna not relate it to design and just think about it in life in general. I would say my sign to move to Europe, because I mean I knew it my whole life, and it kind of just clicked. Though there was a time where I go, okay, you know what, I'm 19, I gotta get out of here. I have to spread my wings and I have to fly and I have to grow. And I think moving to Europe was the best decision I have ever made, and it has made me so incredibly happy. It's weird. I just never can see myself living in North America again. Okay, I am graduating from ID soon, and I'm scared about not finding a good job / money. Was it hard? And I truly believe that finding the right company to design with, to be hired into, I think it's just a sense of what you value in design yourself. And one thing that never worked for me was when I was just out of school, everyone said, you know what, just apply anywhere, take whatever job you can get any money that you can get. And I remember thinking to myself, you know, I've done that. You know, like I said, I started working really young, and I don't just want any job. I want to work with design because that's what I care about. And I remember thinking that the odd thing with the creative industry is you take that path because you're a creator. So you think slightly differently from other people, and you're a visionary and you want to create visions that you have in your head. So when you get hired within a company, it becomes their vision. So you have to start like working for someone else's vision. And that's probably why I started my own studio, because I kept thinking, I don't want to like work for someone else's vision. I want to do my own. So as a creative, I feel like that's the key, is if you are going to work with a company, I really truly feel like you should work with one that you really value their projects. Like, and when you apply, say that. Go through their website and just find a project that you're obsessed with and say like, this is why I'm applying, because I love what you did here. I love what you did with these lines and these curves and the mood board and the concept. Like you just kind of tie everything together. And I think that part is the hardest part, because you're trying to get hired and you do want to take anyone because it's your first job. But I just feel like you should also take just slightly extra time, you know, instead of applying to 10 companies, apply to 20 a day. Take a little bit extra step so that you can get that dream company. Yeah, I wouldn't say like, don't be scared about money either, for sure. Like I never thought about money ever, because I just thought as long as I'm doing what I want to do, the money will come. The money will come. And I always remind myself that. So I think a lot of people ask me that too, like, do you make a lot of money? And I'm like, it depends on design, right? It depends who you're designing for, what you're doing, how old are you, how much experience have you had? Like it's a lot. But just, if I were you, I just don't worry about money at all. So to answer your question, was it hard? Yeah, because anything in life kind of is, but you'll get there if you follow your gut. So just keep listening to that little voice in your head. Okay, any interior design tips for first home buyers? We like everything we see, but we cannot decide. Yes, I do have tips. So the first thing I would do is look at the structure, the bones. That's the most important thing. And sometimes when people are buying or renting, they fall in love with what's already there. So they can't see past the current furniture or whatever was staged for you to buy it. So my first thing that I would do is try and envision everything gone and all you have are the walls, the windows, and that's it, and the ceilings. And I would say the first thing to look for are high ceilings, big windows, or at least a lot of windows with a lot of natural lighting. That's the biggest thing that I think you just cannot put a price on good lighting. So I would say as much natural lighting as possible, super high ceilings. It's gonna make your space feel way bigger, way more important. It's gonna feel really good. So that's my first tip. My second tip is, when you are buying, try and buy something that's, you know, a lot of places might already be finished, and that can be the appeal. So people will buy something and spend a lot of money because there's a ton of bids on this place because it's finished really well. But my tip would probably be, if you get a place that has a poor kitchen or bathroom and people don't want to buy that place, they don't want to spend extra money, and they kind of want something that's move-in ready, my advice is to get one of these places that's not fully move-in ready. And if it has like an old kitchen or bathroom, or those kind of tend to be the most important rooms, I would say to do it yourself. And I think it would actually be, first of all, a fun project. Secondly, you're gonna get the place, whether you're renting or buying, it will be cheaper because people don't want to do the work. So I think you can also get something that's slightly more characteristic too. I personally like just like little details that you find in spaces. Advice on starting up a portfolio after university. My advice for that is stick to a minimal amount of projects. So take your absolute best projects, even if you just have like 3. Use those instead of using all 20 of the stuff that you did in school, because when they do see your portfolio, it may not be the good one that sticks in their head. They may be focused on one that wasn't as good. And of course, if you're a student, they'll take that into consideration. They're not going to expect you to be amazing like right out of school. But I would also do a website instead of an actual physical PDF, because I think a website is way quicker. I think a portfolio is a bit outdated now. So I actually never had a portfolio. I always had a website, and it's worked well for me. You just send a link off. And put your best project at the beginning and at the end. I think and also if you have a bunch, you can put one like right in the middle, and then like the more boring ones kind of in between. But you want like a really big wow factor at the beginning. So that's my best advice. Okay, my next question is, let me see here. I love designing spaces, but I have no experience. Where do I start? I would say go on any website that you can find that's design oriented. Behance is a good one. That's where people, designers upload their own work. You can go on Pinterest. You can buy architectural magazines. I think my best advice is to research old architects from the 60s and 70s who kind of started it all. And I would take inspiration from them through their projects. I would go through projects and I would think, what is it about this space that I like? What is it about this particular window that I'm obsessed with that they designed? Or this living room or this office, what is it that they designed? What element can I take from this and understand what you appreciate about design? And once you know why you like design or what you like about it, I think you're able to grasp what direction to go in. So if you like aesthetics in general and you find yourself leaning towards interiors or architecture, I would say probably get schooling for the programs, because you'll want to learn like AutoCAD and all of that. But when it comes to the actual execution, I wouldn't say like school helped me in that way. Maybe it helped other people, but school did not teach me about aesthetics or teach me how, like, why things look good together or feel good together. It was more the technical side and the structural side. And then some of our teachers had more of a artistic view of the world. So that might have stuck with me a bit. But I would say that's how I would start personally, because a lot of people ask me, what school did you go to? And they think that they'll go to my school and they'll produce the same projects and have the same outcome that I do or that I did. But I can honestly say, like, I went to school with a lot of people that we learned the exact same thing, but we have completely different style, aesthetics, structurals, way of thinking, and design in general. So I would say just like try and research a niche that you want to stick to, and then go to school for programs or just research all the time. That's honestly, that's the best thing I would suggest. Magazines, furniture stores, like just go through it all. I hope that helped. I'm sorry, I'm not very good at this. Okay, what is your creative process? How do you come up with ideas? Greetings from Mexico. Okay, hello. Hi, Mexico. I would say my creative process is, I think when I was in school, I used to look up a lot of stuff on Pinterest and try and get ideas. And that didn't work for me because we have sticky brains. So if I'm stuck on a project and I see something that can potentially fill that, we can automatically like plagiarize without knowing it, because you have an image stuck in your head. So I completely stopped doing that maybe after my first year of school. And I thought, okay, I need to start getting inspiration from stuff that's not architecture and not design related. And I think that's kind of what skyrocketed my concept development, and I got better at developing concepts because I started just seeing life through objects and through movement and through music. And that's kind of how I was already thinking. So to put it through into the design world really helped me. So for example, I don't know, like this water bottle, just I have this next to me, but instead of looking at like, like let's say you were designing a space and you had to come up with a design for a wall, how a wall was structured, how it was built. Did you just want a flat gypsum surface, or did you want it like just painted? There's a lot of different things that you can do. But maybe instead of looking at photos on Pinterest of interiors and walls and wall finishes, you might get inspiration from the texture on this water bottle. You know, there's just different lines here and curves, and you never know. That might be a stupid example, but I think that's how I see the world now, through different objects and elements, and you're always getting inspired by shapes and, like I said, movement. So I think that's how I get a lot of my inspiration, and also just through talking. I have never been as inspired as I am this year when it comes to having conversations with my friends, and the way that they speak, the way that they talk about their troubles in life, their emotions, the beautiful things in their life, the things that they're struggling with. I truly think that that connects with design, it connects with music, it connects with fashion. So I think that ties in again to like living in the present and absorbing all the stuff around you. And that can be colors, it can be sounds. So I think that's like my main creative process. I'm just rereading the question again to make sure I'm not going too off, because I always do that. But I think that's my whole process and how I get my main ideas. And then after that, I just like start with a concept. I start building a concept, generally from a mood. I'll start with some kind of mood, whether it comes through a material at first, or it just changes all the time. So it depends on the project, but I would say ideally, like, I do like building concepts from certain materials. So I might see a material that I absolutely love, and I'll design a concept around that. Okay, so that's all the questions that I can get to today. I have this thing, I don't know what it's called, but it's where I talk nonstop and I don't know how to stop talking. So you may have seen me. Okay, those are all the questions I'm going to answer today, but I will do another Q&A, so it is coming. But I hope you guys enjoyed these questions. And yes, this is my first time filming and I'm super awkward and I don't know how to stop talking, so I may have gotten off topic, but I do have a lot of exciting things coming for this channel, and I'm planning on having a whole apartment series. So I'll show you guys kind of how I'm going to change up my whole apartment, and I'm even thinking in the next video I will show the space as it is right now. So let me know if that's something that you guys want to see, and if you have any other questions, just let me know in the comments. I promise I'm gonna try and get through all of them. But this was super fun for me, and I hope that you guys learned something from me and maybe feel closer to me. But I think this is super fun, and I want to do like a whole series in my life all the time, and I want to film this day to day because I have a little bit of a ever-changing life, so it'd be fun to take you guys along with me. Also, another series I'm doing is I'm going to Stockholm to do this apartment design series, so let me know if that's something that you guys want to see. I can take you through kind of like a day-to-day how I design. Anyway, so yeah, this was super fun. Love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for following me, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.